Good afternoon, YouTubers. Welcome to my first one. Speed painting. Let's set that background up. Working with acrylics. This is Mars Black, Prussian Blue, Titanium White for the blending. Just setting up some ambiance in the background for right now. Working really wet so the painting can blend real well. We'll start laying in some foreground textures. Beef up the stage for the actors. I always call this the stage. Setting up a stage for the characters in the painting. Starting on our foreground figures. Just a little basic shape layout at the moment. Putting in some details and some shadows. Here's our main character. He's on stage now, so let's get him all put in. Again, Prussian Blue, Mars Black, and White for his pants. Doing some highlights and shadows at the moment. A little fine detail work. I like using liner brushes for all this. I like the control of a liner brush. Now we got some yellow ochre, some burnt sienna, some raw sienna. Doing his boot work. We'll add some fine detail highlights now. We'll start some shadow work underneath him to give some depth to the painting. A little more detail work. Some cad yellow, raw sienna. A little Prussian mixed in for the shadow work. Now we'll get started on his skin. There's a mix of yellow ochre, alizarin crimson, white for a flesh tone. I always mix up three bases. I have a medium, which is my main color. I have a dark and then a light version of it, so I mix white with it for a light highlight color. Mix some more Prussian and a little bit of just a hair of black with it, just to give it some darkness. Putting in our highlights and our dark spots, trying to give some form to his shape with those highlights and line work. Some more detail now. I like to detail separate parts of the painting as I go. I don't like doing it all in the end. I like seeing it happen as I go. A little more refinement. Get some of those elements to really stand out good. Now the other side. I usually tend to work with the call it the sun to my right. So all my shadows end up on my left for some reason. It just seems to be that's the way I paint. All my shadows are on the left. Again, more mixtures of the Prussian and burnt umber in with the flesh tone to start working my shadows. Just filling in those voids that I know will be in the darkest areas of his body. Working the highlights as I go. Start building the form. Just think of the anatomy. Think of what you're seeing. Now, my people aren't anatomically correct. None of my paintings they are. They're just the character in the play. As long as you know what it is and you know what they're doing and you know what's happening, that's good enough for me, for my characters. Starting to work some more of the finer details. Starting on the face now. Same combination of colors as I go. Working some of those highlights so I can see his face take shape. Back to that liner brush for some of the fine details. Still working on shape and form as I go. I can see that it still needs some refining. You know, his body needs roundness. It needs form. I don't want it to look flat, so I keep working those shadows and highlights until I get that shape that I'm looking for. More pronounced highlights. Still looking for that shape. going to start laying in that nice beard. Titanium white, a little bit of Mars black, more Prussian. Keep the blue working throughout it. Keeps a balance in the painting. Keep working that same color all the way through the painting. Helps tie it all together. You want to give it flow. You want to give it motion. So I'm trying to give it like, you know, there's a wind. There's something moving in this painting. Some darker areas in the beard. More gray. More black mixed in with it. Giving shape and texture to everything. They got the base down. You got some medium tones down. And start refining it with some highlights, some bright whites and some dark blacks, just to give it real shape and form. So right now I'm putting in all the highlights, the whiter areas. Some nice streaks in the hair, make it stand out. Really starts taking shape. The more grades of color you start putting into it, it starts taking its own form. Now that real fine detail work with that liner brush. Really giving it some pop. Real nice dark areas. Some nice defining separation and everything. Look at that. Looks really good up in the hair. More refinement. More detail. And some little ingots or whatever on his beard. Tie that yellow in with his belt. Here's those eyes. And we start working on that mighty weapon of choice, his paintbrush. Again with the base color, and then a light color for highlights, and then a dark color to give it shape. Get those shadows in there. Well, I had some little details to his paintbrush, maybe runes of accomplishments. Those bristles all painted in. Signs of battle. Nice cad red. Get that working throughout. Here we go. Background highlights. There we go. Got some ambiance to the background thrown in there. Now something for his belt. Maybe more weapons of choice, his colors. Alright guys, well that's about that. I hope you enjoyed it. Come back again, see the next one. I'll be putting these up there. Nice speed paintings for you.